So today we're going to take the teeny tiny little Lumix S9 and we're going to rig it up into something way over the top like this. Also, if you enjoy these rig builds, do subscribe. This is like the 10th or 12th one that I've done on this channel, and it's kind of hard to come up with a unique idea every single time. So if you like them, do let me know by hitting that subscribe button. It means a whole lot. Thank you. So to begin, we're obviously going to start with the Lumix S9. It's a tiny little camera and it's actually incredibly powerful and it can do a lot of stuff. To begin, we've already got the cage attached. So this is the SmallRig cage. Big fan of it. It's very simple, very minimal, and it's got a couple of little connection points that makes it nice and sturdy. I've got two little accessories on here. First off, I have this sort of NATO rail on the side, and I've got a fall cam quick release plate on the bottom here. This is their F38 quick release plate. So we can go ahead and just attach the lens to our camera. Now the whole rig is actually built around this. This is a V-mount plate. It's one that opens up and it's got a little L mount sort of with a hinge on it for a V-mount battery. If you saw the video that I came out with a couple of days ago, I was originally going to use NPF. I've kind of changed my mind, not because it's bad, but I'm going to save that for a different rig. So today we're going with the V-mount, just because I found a cool way of using this piece. So pretty happy with that. First off, we're actually going to go ahead and grab our fall cam quick release clamp here. This is just the little piece that attaches to the base plate that's on the cage. Now this already has an Arca Swiss plate built in, and the cage actually has Arca Swiss built into the bottom of it as well. We're not going to use that, mainly because whenever you do attach that, the camera sits really low and then the battery sits super high, which can sometimes get in the way of your handle. That's basically it, okay? Now this might seem like a bit of overkill for that tiny little problem, but that's what we're doing. So the nice thing about this is it's basically Arca Swiss compatible, so you can take this and just slide it on there, get it nice and centered, lock it into place, and there we have that. That just raises the camera up just that like 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch. It doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it does make a big difference when it comes to the final rig. Now, on the bottom of this, we have a few little connection points here. We've got a couple of 1/4-20s and a 3/8. We're going to go ahead and we're going to attach our tripod base plate to this. Now what we're going to use for that is this. This is by NiceRig, and it is a little tripod plate that also has these feet built into the bottom. And that way you can kind of just set your camera on a table or on a surface, as long as it's a flat surface, and it'll sit really steadily. So if you don't want to have it on a tripod and you just want to set it down somewhere, it just gives you a little bit more peace of mind, and I really, really like it. So we can go ahead and we can attach the tripod plate to the bottom of this V-mount plate. As you can see here, I actually have 3 screws already in here. We are going to need all 3. There's a 3/8 at the back and then 2 1/4-20s. So you just take one of those, move it out of the way for now, and we'll save that for later. But we're going to take that 3/8 and that 1/4-20 and add it to the bottom of here. Now, if you haven't seen or used one of these before, I would highly recommend picking one up. This is just a SmallRig multi-tool with collaboration by Film Riot, and it has basically everything that you're ever going to need as far as rigging up your camera goes, and has all the little connections there. These are the main 2 that I tend to use, so I like to have those ready at all times, and then I can go ahead and just tighten up this tripod plate. Now that last little 1/4-20 thread that's on the bottom there, we're going to use that actually for our 15mm rails. So just to kind of save a bit of size and space, we're not going to use a full base plate. We're just going to take this, this is just a little 4-inch rails, nice and short, attached to one of these little clamps. Super, super easy, and very minimal, which is really nice. And basically we're just going to attach one screw right into the middle of there, and we're going to wedge it right up against the edge of this so that it doesn't move. So it's going to sit right there like that. And then you're going to have something that looks like this. Now thankfully with that wedged all the way back over here, it doesn't really move, which is nice. And we got a pretty cool looking little starter here. Now what we can do is we could actually go ahead, and because we have that quick release plate on the bottom here, we can go ahead and actually just slide that on to make sure that everything fits. And there we have it, just like that. Super, super simple, super easy. Depending on your configuration, you just may have to move some stuff around just to make sure that there's a little bit of space here at the back. And the nice thing about this is we can loosen this, pull that all the way down, and then if you want to open up your monitor, you can do that, just like that. So that whenever we have our battery on the back here, this can be sitting out just like that, which is nice. And then the only thing that's left for this bottom piece is actually to take your V-mount battery. I'm going to use the 99 Pro by SmallRig. It is a classic battery. You've probably seen this used plenty of times, but it's just great. It has all of the ports that you could possibly need. And one thing that people don't talk about, which I know it sounds silly, but my favorite thing is this latch here. This little groove slots in here, so whenever you pull this flap open, it stays. It doesn't like flap all over the place like most of the others do. It actually locks into place, which is, I just love that. I think it's great. And it just has an abundance of ports. You've just got basically anything you could possibly need. Slap that on the back there. And there we go. So now we can go ahead and just add the final few little pieces onto our actual camera here. First off, a side handle. The nice thing about this is because there's no ports over on the left-hand side other than your mic jack, we can add a handle like this. This is by Tilta, super small little handle, and it's got a NATO rail, but it's really low profile. So whenever you slide it on here and get that locked into place, there's not a huge gap. I kind of hate it when like a handle sticks out really, really far from the side of your camera. This is just really, really low profile and easy. And honestly, even if I don't have the camera rigged up, I kind of like to have this side handle on here. I just think it works really well for video, gives you a nice grip, adds a little bit of weight to your camera, which helps it not be too shaky. It just works out really, really well. So I love having this handle here on the side. Next, for our top handle, we're going to use this. This is the Nitsy Little Stinger. This is the Mark 1, okay? They have a Mark 2, but this is the Mark 1, and it's the one with the 3/8 screw on the bottom here. This feels so good in hands. If you've got much larger hands, I just go for the full-size Stinger. I've got sort of normal-ish size hands, but if you've got big hands, I'd go for the normal Stinger, and if you normal to small hands, just go with the little Stinger. I think it works out really well. And on the front here, I just have a generic little monitor mount attached. I don't think they make this one anymore, so I'll leave something similar in the comments down below. Everything is linked down below, so if you're interested in any of the parts, you can check those out. And those are affiliate, which really helps me be able to do all of this, which is great. So we can take this and we can just mount it directly onto the cage. Now, there are one of two monitors that I would recommend. First off, is just your phone. I think this is a better solution, just using the Lumix Lab app. So if you don't know, once you've updated your S9 to the latest firmware, you can use the Lumix Lab app to wirelessly monitor and control your camera, which is pretty awesome. So if I go ahead here and I boot up the Lumix Lab app here, I can just go to camera here at the bottom, and then I can find that camera and click camera control. And then once you have it connected, you have your wireless remote here. Now, for some reason, my phone has like weird latency that goes on with this. From what I've seen on most other YouTubers out there who've talked about this, that's not normal. I have this with almost every camera control app that I've tried. So this hopefully isn't a problem for you, but I would test it first just to check to see if your phone will connect to your camera. Yeah, but yeah, for some reason I get some like weird lag sometimes. Most of the time it's fine, as you can see here, but occasionally see that kind of stuttered there. I don't know why. So if you know any reason for that, do let me know in the comments down below. It's probably just because my phone is kind of old and a little bit broken. But for you, I'm assuming it'll probably be okay. So the nice thing about using your phone as your monitor is all you need to do is buy one of these little monitor mount. This one is like $4 on Amazon, I think. You can get them kind of anywhere. And then you just take that Q20 that's on the bottom and you can just go ahead and attach that onto the little monitor mount that you have. And that works great. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I'd recommend doing this over using another monitor. First off, you got the camera control, right? So you don't even need the screen of your monitor at all. You got full camera control. So I can change my ISO, my aperture, my shutter speed, white balance, almost everything I can change here directly on the screen, which is really, really nice. Also, it's wireless. One of the biggest problems with the S9 is that the HDMI port is placed on this side, right on the handle. So whenever you attach an HDMI cable, which I'll show you here in a second, you can't really hold this side of the camera because I feel like you're going to break the port. So until somebody comes up with a solution, which I do have a solution idea. So if any companies like SmallRig or any of you guys are watching this, I have an idea for this and that I think would be a great solution for this problem, which is also going to fix the same thing for a couple other cameras that are starting to do this by putting their ports on that side. Do reach out and let me know if you'd be interested in figuring out something together. So yes, it means that you can do it wirelessly. You're not having to deal with the HDMI port on the side. And secondly, it'll save you a couple $100. You don't have to go out and buy a monitor, which monitors are very expensive. Now, alternatively, if you don't want to use your phone, my favorite monitor at the moment, as I talked about the other day, is this. It's the Cine X5L, and it is a 6-inch monitor, and it has a built-in battery on the inside, which lasts a couple of hours. It's very bright. It's like 1200 nits, I believe, and it just powers over USB-C. So all you have to do is plug a USB-C cable into it, and it'll stay powered the whole time. You don't need to worry about the battery inside dying. But if I release this from the whole rig, I can walk around and I don't need to have a big old heavy battery on the back of this monitor. So if you would rather use a monitor, then you can go ahead and attach that onto the monitor mount. Now, obviously at that point, that does mean that you're going to need an HDMI cable. So if I go ahead and turn on the monitor, now I can take this, I'm going to use a right angle one here because I feel like that makes most sense. And then you can just attach that into the side here, and the other end can go into the monitor. And there you have that working just fine. Obviously I'm not having any problems with this, but just be aware that this is really annoying that is there. it just feels like I'm going to break that port if I'm not careful. And oftentimes I'm not careful. So that's my complaint with this setup, but I realize this is the way that most people are going to want to go. Lastly, let's go ahead and throw on our SmallRig mini matte box on the front here, which is my favorite little miniature matte box, because you can still use full-size 82mm filters on the front of like screw-on filters or glass filters, so whichever one you want to use. There you have that, already looking pretty cool. You can flip your screen out, take your little base plate thing that we have here, and attach them together, and we're done. There we are. All we got to do is attach our battery, and the rig's kind of finished, which I think looks really, really cool. I love the way that this looks. All we have to do now is power the devices. There's a couple of things that are important when it comes to powering the devices. First off, you're going to have to connect things directly to the battery instead of to like a battery plate. I much prefer just connecting to a battery plate, but for this one, you're just going to have to use the battery. So all you got to do is take like a USB to USB-C cable, something like this, and plug that into your battery and over into the monitor. And that will keep the monitor charging at all times, and you're not going to have to worry about battery life. And then you can take a dummy battery for the camera. Now, the reason I would recommend, you could use another USB-C cable just going straight into the S9, but you're really likely to run into overheating at that point. The camera overheats anyway, so one of the reasons you might want to build a rig is to try and counteract the overheating problems. So we're going to take a little DC to dummy battery here, and you can also use D-tap. I'd probably recommend using D-tap, but you can take a little DC here, plug that into the battery, and then this end just goes straight into the camera. This is my rig for the Lumix S9. I want to hear what your thoughts are down below. Obviously, the main reasons for this is, first off, I love building rigs. So I have this camera, I figured I'd build a rig. Secondly, this camera has pretty bad overheating problems, so you're going to want to counteract that, and a good way to do that is with dummy batteries. So that helps out there, and it looks cool, okay? So everyone can be really impressed with just how amazing of a filmmaker you are because of how cool that your camera looks. All joking aside, it is a good question to ask yourself of, should you buy an S9 and build a big cinema rig? No, you probably shouldn't. I wouldn't recommend doing this. This is the closest thing to an April Fool's that I'm going to do. But this is probably a waste of money. If you have the money and you're looking at buying an S9 to rig up like this, just get an S5 IIX. It's a better camera. It's got all, it's not going to overheat. And it's probably just a better place to start. But in saying that, if you have an S9 and you have all of these parts lying around like I did, then you can build it. So do whatever you want. If it makes you happy, go ahead and do it. If it doesn't, don't do it. But anyway, I want to know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Let me know. If you've enjoyed the video, do hit the like button, drop a comment down below, and maybe even subscribe as we continue to build this channel. I appreciate all of you for doing so, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.